my freshman friends, and welcome to Formatting in Writing Titles, Works Cited, and In-Text Citations. Okay, I know that sounds super dry. Don't check out yet, because this is super important for your whole life. Titles are absolutely everywhere, and every paper that you're going to write in high school and college, if you want to go there, is going to include works cited and in-text citations. Guys, if you have ever wondered about this, it's all here. It's all super simple, and it's going to answer those very basic questions that you have to ask about titles, works cited, and in-text citations. So this is the black and white. It doesn't get a lot simpler than this. Pay close attention and you'll have these questions answered and you will never have to go back to them. It's also going to help you with your IXL and any writing that you do from here on out at Chatfield. So this is good for your success and it is a cheat sheet. Cheat sheets are super fun. Definitely going to help you, so pay attention to this. You'll also have a copy of this on Google Classroom to use. So we're going to start with titles and capitalization rules. There are 4 of them. Count them, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can't see the 4th one on the screen right now, but that's okay. Here's the first. When writing titles such as book, movie, short story, or poem titles, always capitalize the first word and the last word. First word, last word. So, for example, Lady and the Tramp. First word, last word, Lady, Tramp. Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean if you prefer. Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. Snow, dwarves. Doesn't matter what word it is, always, always, always capitalize the first word and the last word. Always capitalize the nouns, the people, the places, the things, the verbs, the action words, and the adjectives, the description words. Always capitalize those. They must be capitalized in the title. So if you're talking about a person, if you're talking about an action, if you're talking about an adjective, capitalize those words. The articles and the unimportant words, in my opinion, there are no unimportant words, but the unimportant words like the, and, of, a, but, these are not to be capitalized unless they are the first or the last word of the title, or they follow a colon in the title. So take a look at this and I'll show you an example. Star Wars, The Force Awakens. That the would be lowercase if this colon was not here. It would look like that. Star Wars, The Force Awakens. So you have that article, the, but however, there is a colon in that title, so you would use a capital T. Woo-woo! Rule number 4, everything else is capitalized in the title, including words like is, was, were, and are. Guys, just because these are little bitty words, that does not mean that they are lowercase letters. These words, is, was, were, are, they are verbs, so they should be capitalized. Make sure you go through and think about your parts of speech. If you've got a lowercase letter that is a person, place, or thing, that is an action word, that is a descriptor, then make sure that you go back and capitalize those things because that's how that's supposed to be. You will see that in your IXL, so pay close attention to these little rules. All right, our next section, titles, italics versus quotation marks. So, age-old question in English class. I've got a title that I'm working with. I've pulled it out of this book, and it's a short story. Does it go in italics or does it go in quotation marks? I'm going to tell you right here. The title of the book, movie, play, TV show, magazine, or newspaper should be in italics. So, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that is a movie, so it is in italics. However, the title of a poem, song, article, or short story should be in quotation marks. So, Love is an Open Door, that song from Frozen, that's in quotation marks because it is a song. So here's something that I use to remember it. What goes in italics? Books, movies, plays, TV shows, magazines, and newspapers. They're all big works. They contain a ton of content. They are heavy with things to say or show to their audience. The titles, therefore, are bent over under the weight of all of that information. Thus, you write them in italics. Quotation marks. Poems, songs, articles, and short stories are all smaller works. They're typically shorter in length, and since they're cute little works of literature, you just want to give them a little pinch on either of their cheeks, which is why short works have those two little pinch marks on either end of their title. Okay, obviously, this is really silly. It's a super silly way, but it helps me remember when to use italics because they're big works and they're leaning over and they're holding a lot of content. So they lean and I put them in italics. When to use quotation marks, they're little bitty works and they're really cute and you want to pinch their cheeks. That helps me remember. If you need to come up with something that'll help you remember, go ahead and pause this video, jot something down, think of something that will help you. All right. MLA Works Cited pages. So much fun. Guys, this is actually one of my favorite things. I love the organization. I love how nice and neat it looks at the end. Works Cited pages are awesome and they're super important. So essentially what a Works Cited page is, if no one has ever told you, is it's what the MLA 8, so they come out with different editions of what our writing should look like as language changes because it is a fluid thing. We'll talk about that later. They came together and they said, here are the 9 things that are absolutely necessary when you are telling other people about a source that you used in an essay or something that you wrote. So here are all of the important elements. Now, when you're doing a works cited, you want to include the author. You want to include the title of the source. You want to include the title of the container. So what does that mean? Here is a textbook. This is an English 11 textbook. This is the container of lots of different stories. So these are all different stories inside of here. They're not all one. It's not all one book. It's one book that contains lots of different stories. So that anthology or that big textbook would be the container. Other contributors, that could be other authors, that could be editors. You will know if there's another contributor for your work. The version will be listed as well. So will the number, the publisher, the publication date, and the location. Also the date of access, that would more apply to an online source. So if you accessed a source today, then you would put down September, whatever day it is for you right now. So that is MLA Works Cited pages. One thing that you're going to need to remember is always make your works cited pieces have a hanging indent. I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So when you have all of this information and you've got more than one line of information, you need to add a hanging indent to your works cited page. So you'll highlight all of your information. You'll take this little bitty triangle up at the top and you will drag it over, if it will listen to me, to 0.5. Then you'll take this little tiny rectangle at the top and you'll drag it back to where it originally lived. And there you go. Now you have a hanging indent. I will go over this again later. That is just a quick crash course on how to do it for now. All right, last but not least, in-text citations. How do I use them? For books and short stories, which is all you need to worry about right now, just use the format below. So here's your quote. You're talking, and then you're going to quote an author. So insert the quote right here on this line. Then you're going to do a parenthetical, which is this. So if you make your hands like this, that's parentheses. So in between your parentheses, you put the author's last name and the page number. No comma to separate those two things. Don't make that mistake. There is no comma in between the author's last name and the page number. Then after the parenthetical, you put this period. So this period should not ever go inside the parentheses. It should always be on the outside. Now, if you've got a work with absolutely no page numbers and you don't know where your pages or where your work came from, just do the author's last name in between that parenthetical, after the quotation mark, and before the period. Look back at this formula if you need to see it again. It will help you out later on. What? Look at that. We're at the end. Guys, go do your IXL and come back to this cheat sheet whenever you need it. Super proud of you.